This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Alfie Sharman of DAZN here in London. Alfie, good to see you as always. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, Andy. Very loud in here. You all right? You well?
So I was just checking the sound for about 5 minutes before we started this interview. Obviously it's here at Eubank-Benn too. Talk to me about this fight. How easy of a decision was it for you guys to make this rematch just because of the interest from the first fight?
How easy was it? Well, obviously we worked very closely with our friends at Ring Magazine. I think the intention was to always run it back. Such a good first fight. So yeah, I think the fighters made it very clear straight after that they were open to it. They're both game opponents. They're both warriors. It was close, you know. I did have Chris winning. I think as the cards had it, I thought it was fairly scored. But yeah, for us, absolute no-brainer. I mean, with boxing fans, this is the biggest fight in boxing in the UK easily this year. What we're seeing over the world is that quite a lot of fight fans are excited in places like Australia, places like the United States, all over the world, but in particular those territories which I found really interesting. So outside of the commercial opportunity for us, because it's such a great fight, it's one that we as boxing fans in a business wanted to make. So between us, Turkey Al Sheikh, Ring Magazine and the fighters, as well the promoters, here we are. So I'm looking forward to it.
Obviously, initially, Alfie, the rematch was touted for September and it never quite came off then. Yeah. Did you ever have any doubts that the rematch might not get over the line?
Yeah, I did, if I'm being honest. Why? Because quite often, you know, things can get in the way, you know, like obviously the fight in April was so big. There was lots of conversations afterwards about who he wants next, you know, Canelo, etc. Obviously, Conor's made it very clear the WBC is, you know, Barrios and the WBC belt has got his name on it, etc. So, who knows? I always like to have thought that the two boys kind of believe in the rivalry, believe in the history, believe in the legacy themselves so much that they'd have to run it back. But yeah, to answer your question, I think there was a period of time where I was a little bit nervous that it didn't happen. But we're here and I'm excited, so yeah.
Interest-wise, obviously earlier on you mentioned kind of how across the world there's been various parties who've all been interested and looking forward to Saturday night. For yourselves, do you have kind of a number in mind as to how you expect pay-per-view sales to go?
Yeah, we've got a target and we've got a stretch target which we challenge ourselves to reach. You know, I think for us it's about keeping our engaged audience happy. This is of course, a die-hard boxing fan will have interest in this fight, but equally the casual fans. So in order for us to bring in broader audiences, we're going to need to communicate and market to wider, more casual fans, which we're doing. But yeah, I'm quite confident that I think, you know, the first fight did very well. Obviously, we shared it with Sky, the first fight. This is now exclusive, so it's all on us. We've got some great distribution deals. We have a target. We're obviously a business. I have a target, and we have a stretch. But we're anticipating big numbers, big viewership, huge social numbers already. But really, it matters how many people watch on DAZN. So let's see. Obviously, as you know, we don't divulge targets, but I have a target. To answer your question, yeah.
Obviously, as you mentioned, you guys have a sole broadcaster for Saturday night, and so all the pressure's on you guys to deliver your targets, to hit your numbers. Do you feel like, as you mentioned previously, it was a dual broadcast with Sky Sports, do you feel like they're missed at all from this week, or?
Well, no, look, they're covering it. They're involved. You know, they're kind of still doing their bit, right? They're a sports. They have big skin in the game, undeniable skin in the game in terms of, you know, their reach as well as their experience and their ability to communicate the right narratives, which I feel they're doing. You know, we've worked very closely with Sky on quite a few shows now. We work very closely with Sky in lots of our European territories as well. So as much as externally there may seem like there's tension, it's healthy tension, it's competition, which we believe is important. We've always been up against big players, and we've got to where we are now, which is, you know, a market leader in boxing. And I don't think we're missing their broadcast. I think we're potentially the job for us with Sky now is to make this event feel as big as it should be, right? The fact that you can buy the fight still on on Sky via DAZN is a big step. So those fans who are a lot more maybe traditional, some may say, a lot more used to transacting in that way, we've made the fight available to them. The same with Amazon Prime. So we're kind of bringing it all together. I've spoken to you many times over the years about accessibility and how making boxing I'm not going to lie to you, I want as many people on our platform and not anywhere else. However, we accept and respect that other people have their habits, so it's on us to make sure that we're working with these platforms, as we have done, to ensure that people that more habitually set in their ways can join us as well.
Obviously, Alfie, it's been a while since I last caught up with you, as I touched on earlier on. There's been a lot of talk about pay-per-view across the country, and obviously with DAZN and the recent shows you've put on. Just to kind of start with this fight, and something which I've seen a few people suggest over social media. As we know, it's live and exclusive on DAZN, but a few people questioning why maybe it doesn't say live and exclusive on DAZN pay-per-view, why maybe that isn't pointed out, whether it be on the banners it's not pointed out. For example, when Sky Sports do it, it says Sky Sports box office on the banner. Do you feel like you understand why maybe people feel it's maybe a little disingenuous to not point that out?
Honest answer is no, because our job is to get people to our platform and explore the DAZN app, right? You get to the DAZN app, it's very clear that that this is a pay-per-view. Obviously, with last week we announced Ultimate, so you can come in and you can get it as part, you know. I'm sure you're going to come on to that as well. So no, and you know, you've got limited real estate with advertising. You know, I'm going to get into a geek out marketing chat here. You know, you have to focus in on the key information, which is fighter A versus fighter B, and that it's live on DAZN. That's our job. Our job is to make as many people aware that this fight is happening on our platform, and then when you get to the DAZN platform, it's very clear the various payment methodologies that are available. So no, I don't think it's disingenuous, and we've done it consistently for quite a long time. It's not something new that we've done in recent times. We're championing the DAZN brand. We've still got some work to do with people becoming familiar with who we are, introducing ourselves, and as soon as you slap pay-per-view on stuff, sometimes it can distract from the core message, which is that there's an amazing fight with two elite athletes on the global home of boxing.
Do you feel like, if at all, it does become a sticking point if, say, somebody was to go visit DAZN and want to watch this fight on Saturday, but then they realise they might have to purchase a DAZN subscription before purchasing the pay-per-view? I know obviously you're doing a deal in terms of buying the pay-per-view, you get a little trial period with DAZN as well, but just speaking figuratively, it's kind of almost you're buying not two subscriptions, but you're buying the DAZN pay-per-view and then a DAZN subscription separate. Yeah,
but you don't have to, right? So you can have a 7-day free trial. You can come in, as long as you remember to cancel and we communicate with our customers afterwards. You can come in and just transact. So if Andy wanted to come in and not commit to DAZN, you don't want another subscription, I'd love to convince you otherwise and show you our schedule and the various payment methods in which we can make boxing accessible for people. However, I'm not going to be presumptuous. Some people just want to come in and watch an event. Historically, you did have to subscribe. Now you don't. You can come in, and again, very clearly, there are two payment options when you get into our sign-up: to either join the Ultimate plan, which includes your pay-per-views as part of your subscription for £25 a month, including this one, or if you're not interested, you can just buy it on a 7-day free trial, no strings attached, and then leave after 7 days.
Alfie talks about the launch of the DAZN Ultimate plan as well. How long had that been in the works for, and how did you all come to the conclusion of launching that plan as an option for potential customers?
Well, first question, how long has it been in the works? A long time. You know, subscription loyalty schemes and mechanics to encourage people to stick around in subscription service is very normal. It's been in the works for us for a long time. You're a boxing fan, you worked in boxing for a long time. It's a very volatile sport and it's quite difficult. If fights are fragmented and rights are fragmented, it's very difficult for us to bring people in on a long-term plan if we're not entirely sure what's going to happen in 6 months. Now, we're not entirely sure what's going to happen exactly in 6 months, but the fact that Queensberry are exclusive to DAZN, Matchroom are exclusive to DAZN now, Golden Boy, 28 other promoters, Ring, DAZN, and etc. If there is a fight, it's going to be on DAZN, and we're starting to work in a longer form cadence with regards to our schedule. We're now in a position where with a few announcements coming in the next 2 days, which I can't talk about too much detail just yet. But our January and February slate is already starting to thicken out, so you can see where the value is coming from. In the past, we didn't have that luxury. We do now, and that was a very deliberate strategy to almost tie up the market, ensure that if there is boxing, it's on our platform, which then enables us to convince customers that if you sign up to us for a year, you're going to get your content. 185 plus fight nights a year is what we've been professing to deliver this year. We're going to deliver 210 as part of the Ultimate plan. Minimum of 12 pay-per-views. We've delivered more than that this year. We're already going to, I'm pretty confident we're going to far exceed that next year. So we're in a good place, and it's a perfect time for us to launch it, obviously with such a fantastic fight week this week. Riyadh season, Ring 4 next weekend. And then, a little matter of a new way on December 27th. If you join the Ultimate plan now, you get all those three as part of your DAZN subscription. You've already made your money back.
Just with the pay-per-view portion to that side of things, as you mentioned, 12 plus pay-per-views minimum included in the deal. Is there kind of a bar to the standard of fights? So, for example, obviously there were some criticisms over Atama White ending up being pay-per-view. Wardley Parker had its criticisms for being pay-per-view. Let's say next year Fury Joshua's made, the fight everybody wants to see. I don't think you'd find anybody who could disagree with that being pay-per-view. But would that be included in the pay-per-view aspect, or would that be a standalone fight people would have to pay separately because you know of the interest that would drum up?
Well, no, I mean, our intention, to be clear, is to have all pay-per-views as part of Ultimate. That's our intention, right? However, where we come to in position sometimes to make certain fights, things change. Our intention is to have all pay-per-views as part of Ultimate and a minimum of 12. We want to make sure that it's very clear to consumers that one a month, obviously 12, one a month is clear. We can't, as I've just kind of alluded to in terms of the volatility of the boxing schedule generally, I don't know how many we're going to deliver next year. I know it will be a minimum of 12, which will be part of Ultimate, and our intention that no matter who's participating in those cards, they'll be included.
Just one final thing to wrap up on all of that talk, Alfie, is obviously previously Turkey had put a tweet out saying that pay-per-view was going to be gone, and he's been speaking with Shay, and the plan was to get rid of it. Obviously there's been a bit of a U-turn since then with some different plans being proposed. Was that ever in the discussion? Was that ever in the pipeline whereby pay-per-view completely would have been wiped from the slate?
What we've done here is created a mechanic that essentially allows us to have no pay-per-views, right? Because you sign up to a subscription that is, you're already saving £300 a year as part of, by joining Ultimate, minimum $500 in the US. The pay-per-view mechanic is very important for boxing, right? Sometimes fighters need to be paid a certain amount of money in order to get the fights made. We've never had those conversations where we're categorically saying anything's off the table because so much is out of our control. So what we've done is address things that are within our control, create a subscription product that includes pay-per-views, and then focus on delivering some amazing pay-per-view schedules, which is what we're doing at the moment. So that's where we are. I think 2026 is going to be by far the best year for boxing. I've said that for the last 2 years. And now with this plan, I really too believe that we're about to see a real step change in the way that people consume boxing on our platform in particular.
Alfie, do you ever have to pull Eddie into a room and say to him, why did you say all those years ago pay-per-view is dead?
No, I mean, I think we had something to do with that as well. So no, is the short answer. Eddie can do what he likes.
Alfie, just on another topic I want to get your thoughts on is obviously Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of rumours about that fight potentially taking place in December. Now, as we know, Anthony Joshua is exclusive to DAZN. A lot of talk about that landing on Netflix. From your perspective, Alfie, is that a sticking point, or is there an openness to allow Anthony Joshua to go and have that fight with Jake on the Netflix platform?
Well, listen, you're right in the word you say there. It's rumours, right? It's news. You literally work in boxing news. You know how it is. So no, there's no conversations that DAZN have been involved in at this point. As you say, AJ is a DAZN fighter and remains that way. So let's see what tapes up. But currently, it's just news.
So you had no talks whatsoever, sir?
No talks.
Last one from me. Obviously, we're still waiting for news on Top Rank, and if they're going to announce a new partnership, a new broadcast deal. Have you had any conversation with them at all about a partner who you'd like to work with?
Yeah, listen, we've got a good relationship with Top Rank. We've worked with them over the years on many shows. We know the guys over there. Obviously got great products over the years and got a real legacy in the sport. So yeah, to answer your question, we've had conversations about collaborating on fights which we've delivered. In terms of their commercial position with other broadcasters, I'm not too comfortable talking about that because it's their business, so I'd rather not comment. But I wish them the very best of luck, whatever they do, wherever they come. They've obviously got backed by a legend in the world of boxing, so let's see.
Alfie, it's a pleasure as always. Go and enjoy the mayhem's about to start with the second press conference of that main event, and I look forward to catching up with you throughout the week. I
enjoyed that undercard press conference. There's a little bit of spice and great fights, so yeah, no, look forward to seeing as many people around the world on DAZN on Saturday. Thanks, Andy.